When we talk about manifesting, you said that it's one thing to manifest a good night's sleep. It's harder to manifest a million. There's no difference. It's the same thing. We are the ones creating a big fuss about that because for us, it's a huge deal manifesting $1 million compared to manifesting a free cup of coffee, for example.
John Mack, welcome back to Ecomonics. Big, huge smile on my face today. For now. I have 10 fingers. So for now I can keep track of how many people have been returning guests. You're returning guest number 3. And it is great to have you. It really means a lot to know that guests want to come back. And I assume they're not being paid under the table to do so. So thank you for being here. How are you doing this fine evening in Chiang Mai?
I am doing good. Yes. We are tuning in from Thailand, actually. It's 9 p.m. It's a good place to be. And thanks for having me on to talk to your tribe again. It's cool. We had a good talk last time. So
yeah, we did. And so to our audience, maybe some of you have not listened to the previous John Mack episode. So my standing rule is go do that. I do not want to use up someone's time just to cover already covered territory. So holding for 1 second so you can pause this and go listen to it. Okay, great. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back. All right, here we go. One of the concepts that stuck with me when we had our previous conversation was the concept of cell memory, and it got me thinking about what are some of the things that I'm doing that they might not necessarily yield a result in the immediate. They might not even yield a result in my life, but they might yield a result perhaps in a future life. So now the audience understands where we're going with this episode. And the cell memory that I have been working on in particular is leadership. And I aside from Guild Wars 1, where I was, a couple of video games where I took a clan leader position, I never really saw myself as the leader archetype. I saw myself as a support archetype, like Merlin and not King Arthur. And so, but in the position that I have with this company is the first time that I put into a leadership position in the multimedia team lead. So it's a great deal of experience that I've been working into it, but it's hard for me to shift my mindset to that of a leader because I've been in the supporting role for so long and I do it well that it's incongruent with my consistent experience. So this is the result of the conversation that we had. Is one of the things that really stuck with me and something that I'm working on and continue to work on. And so I'm happy to hear your thoughts on what I just shared. But I also I'm curious about some of the progress that you've been making with your cell memory training. And perhaps is there something that you've been working on that won't yield a result in the immediate?
There's a couple of things that came to my mind when you mentioned this. The first thing is, of course, the topic of habits, to create new habits. I guess we know that now. And for people that, put their trust more into scientists with white coats that can document things, it's good to know that they also understand how this works. I think they say about 60 days. That's what it takes to try to, train in a new habit. So one thing is habit. The other thing is allowance. What do you allow yourself to become? Because humans we're living on a planet of limitations and fear. It's a prison planet, basically. So, we're trained to be obedient and fit in and not make too much fuss and noise. And depending on our background, of course. But allow yourself to be the king or the leader that you want and allow yourself to train it in by new habits. Those are the new things. Two things that comes to my mind, at least, on this topic, which can drastically change people.
Yeah, okay, that checks out. I think for me, the limiting factor has been the allowance, because I guess because I made peace with being in the support role for so long, and I enjoy it, and I feel like I'm making a lot of impact. The idea of disallowing that when there's value there to allow for something that is not necessarily my strong suit, at least not yet, has been somewhat difficult to reconcile in my mind. So I guess the way that I made peace with it was the idea that, I'm not training this for myself for a day. And I did lose track of the 60-day thing, by the way. I know you mentioned that last time, but I lost track of that. But I guess the idea of like, this is something that might come up through little by little. Could be in a year, could be in 5 years, could be in 10 years. But I do see it. I guess the allowance that I have given myself so far is that I do see it as something that will happen at some point. So there is an inevitability to it that I have made peace with, at least so far.
So you kind of already feel it.
Little by little.
Visualized it. You
Like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I see where it's going. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's an indication that you're in the creation process right now, because these are some of the things I have spent a shitload of time on the last months. From my story last time you and I talked, and what happened last fall, and me getting into learning even more around the topic of manifesting. How the hell do we create our reality? How do we make things happen? How much control do we have? We could say that most people are living by default. They say thank you and accept whatever comes in their face every day. They wake up and walk out in the field. But, we need to understand that we create our realities. And it's a super hot topic on YouTube now. It's exploding everywhere. So that's what you're doing now. You're basically you have already created it. So it's in the field and it's in becoming. So now it's about allowing that to happen. And I know how it is with fear. And I think we will be stepping into the topic of, for people like us running a business and what we can do. I can just mention this again as an example that, with my background, I've talked to people that have told me, I am so surprised that you actually made it, Johnny. Or I'm amazed that you still continue. And that's because people have a limited mindset. I come from a shitty background with a lot of crap happening, but and it could easily, penciled into a really negative outcome, like with my brother and my sister. But based on the mindset and what you accept and the standards you want to have for your life, anything the total opposite can happen. So, and it's about manifesting, and that's what I've been spending a lot of time on lately. So it's what you're doing now. It's in the field, and that's why you feel that it's in the coming. You just know it in a way.
Manifesting is something that I hear once in a while, and I'm prior to when even we had met. I'll tell you a brief story about a moment where I think I could have manifested something, but then I stopped at the last second. So my mother, she was listening to this radio station here in Canada, like 680 News or something like that. And I guess she had built up some point system, either like a loyalty program or something like that. And she was going to cash in all her points to enter a lottery where she might have been able to take away like a huge sum of money, like $1 million, something like nothing to scoff at. And earlier on in that day, I was watching some YouTube videos because I just got into a manifestation at that time. And it says, if you believe it and you manifest the money, it will come. Now, it's one thing to like manifest, I don't know, something like a good night's sleep. It's another thing to try to manifest $1 million on the first go. So I was sitting there and I was convincing myself, this money is coming. This money is coming. We're going to win this lottery. There was a direct connection to this thing. And then maybe at the last second, before I was truly fully committed to it, I said, at least I think so. I mean, there's a good chance of it. And then we didn't win. And I think where a lot of people needs to understand the actual process here is that it's not magic per se. It's not like something that anybody can will anything into existence. There is a large amount of energy, but the universe only has so much of it, and it's trying to produce more. I suppose that's due to the constant expansion of the universe. So, no, we can't just will $1 million into existence. That's not how it works. But I would like to hear your point of view on how you feel it is working, and it sounds like that this is something that has really been top of your mind since the last time that we talked.
And of course, there's a reason for that for my part, because I have my dreams too. And I'm kind of the, stubborn mother bitches I've called myself for years, that never going to give up. I would never go back to a 9 to 5 job. I know exactly what kind of lifestyle I want to have. Most likely similar to your listeners want to have, the freedom we have by doing our own business. But also relationships, which is a big deal for me, because it's hard to find someone on my level that I really want to spend time with. That was the episode last fall. Suddenly was ditched one night, and but I still believe in my dream. And I caught what you said about what you have perceived and seen with your future to come. I have seen the same thing. And this is for everyone listening now. People will probably be on different levels of allowing spiritual insights or whatever they want to believe in. But I have kept having future flashes of things to come, so crystal clear for so long, years back, and they're not going away. It's insane. So that to me just indicates that it's already created, and we know now when we talk about manifesting. You said that it's one thing to manifest a good night's sleep. It's harder to manifest a million. There's no difference. It's the same thing. There's no difference in manifesting a small thing as a big thing. We are the ones creating a big fuss about that, because for us, it's a huge deal manifesting $1 million or whatever it would be, $1,000. We're creating a huge damn fuss about that. We start to doubt. It seems like a big thing. Compared to manifesting a free cup of coffee, for example, we don't think too much about it, so there's no resistance. We're not creating a big deal about it. So if people could just relax and trust in the process, trust in the universe, and kind of allowing the new insights that are coming now, which is not new, it's ancient knowledge that's been around for forever. When it comes to even manifesting, what is manifesting? It's about creating with our minds, basically, our version of our reality. So I guess I kind of dropped out of the line a little bit, but I wanted to refer back to what you said. There's no difference in manifesting a small thing compared to a big thing, but we create our own problems and doubt and fear in our minds, which creates blockages, basically. But if I can continue just a moment on the topic of manifesting, what I have discovered the last months have been pretty interesting and amazing. And yes, I am one of the rebels of the norms, like I talked about last time, that do not fit in to society's norms, because I really want to understand what's happening behind the scenes in our lives, in the universe. What do we actually know? Which have led me into this path, which probably is also the reason why I want to have my business and freedom, and it's the reason why I do web design. And the last months, I have discovered that almost no matter where you go now to ancient knowledge, I've read reference from the Bible. I read the condensed version of the Hermetica from Egypt, from the pharaohs. Channeled information. No matter where I go, I see the same information everywhere. What we think becomes. We all live in our own separate realities. Thoughts are energies that form matter over time. One book I probably can recommend on this podcast, which is not too spiritual, it's more metaphysical and scientific. It is from a Russian mystical, modern actually author called Vadim Seelen. He's writing a book. He wrote a book called Reality Transurfing. Some people may have heard about it. It's super popular in the States now. It's kind of exploded everywhere. I think it's from the 90s. It's pretty fresh, but it's so damn super intelligent written. And he's a metaphysical scientist, and he's explaining how the field of infinite possibilities basically contain all that has been, all that ever will be, and the future, right? Which scientists finally start to understand. And that I wanted to tie that back into what you said again. That is the reason why you can feel it and see it now, because it's already existing. It's been created in the field, and it is for us to now allow it into our reality.
There's another element of this that I'd like to bring into this, because I'm interested in hearing your take on the I guess the clash, or one might say a debate between fate versus free will. So I've gone back and forth on this, and I've talked to some different people about it, and I'm always been a big believer in balance, in that you always have these conflicts that are eternal, because there's this consistent pattern in life where things tend to be, not always, but tend to be broken down into a binary, this or that. You have day, you have night, you have life, you have death, you have start and stop, just going on and on and on. So with free will and fate, or predestination, as some people might want to call it, my thought process has been how to reconcile the two and to find a healthy relationship where both actually have some manner of agency. Because the heavy predestination argument is that any time somebody thinks they're exercising free will, that's just fate saying, yeah, he was going to do that. Yeah, he was going to do that too. Yeah, he's going to do that too. And free will ends up becoming this illusory thing that gives us some peace. Whereas I've been looking at it as more like, fate is, and it's, we talk about these things that are manifesting in our future. And I do strongly believe that a lot of what is happening is laid out before me, because it's an experience that I'm meant to have. So in that case, it's an ocean, but I still see free will as an island within an ocean that crops up. And I do believe it is possible for fate to recognize free will and say, okay, he wants to change the future. That's fine. I'm just going to rewrite it. It is not fated to happen. It's we accept that somebody wants to change the future, so we are going to change it. And that was not predetermined. We're not seeing that far ahead because we just don't even care that much. So that's how I've tried to find a balance between the two. And I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Well, you're obviously a deep thinker. It's good questions. Right. Yeah. And first of all, I want to say that let's not connect faith with religion, because it's one of the major nasty.
It might not have come through. I mean, predestination, I was saying fate, FATE. I mean, faith is a belief system. So yeah, it's good that you brought that up. It's good to clear that up.
Yeah, really good. Cool. Because it has got nothing to do with what we're talking about. So, but fate is a super crucial component in the manifesting process, first of all. No matter what timeline you decide, or the future you want to create, fate will always play a role. And you can read about that in the Bible, and I'm still not referring to religion. I'm referring to ancient texts and what's been said. And you can go other places and find the same information. And the reason is that fate is how can we call that? It's a driving force that puts you in the absolute knowing that this is possible and this will happen. And that is such a strong, powerful force. It got nothing to do with God or Jesus or any divine entity. It's about your personal power. I mean, we have seen, think about kids, for example. They have such a strong faith sometimes in some things they have imagined. They just have no resistance that this is possible, And if we humans could trust in the natural flow of the universe, that would be the faith that we would need to create. So, but to make changes, you mentioned something that makes me think about what maybe connected to what choice did we make before we come here. We touched on that last time, I think.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that as well. It was Chambers.
Yeah. Because, I guess we can say we know now that we have many lives. A soul doesn't educate itself completely in one single lifetime. That's why we keep having memories from past lives, and we can see the future. And that's because everything happens now in the ocean of infinite possibilities and multiple realities and timelines. all this sounds a little bit confusing, but the more I've been diving into this and really want to know it, everything is making so much more sense, and life starts to make sense, and I'm relaxed with everything that's unfolding. So, sometimes we do come here. I mean, what you're doing now, Joseph, could have been part of your plan. You could say that, and each and everyone listening in today may have decided to come in this particular life with one specific theme or topic. It's like a red thread going through this life. There's certain things that's supposed to unfold, positive or negative. But we are able to rewrite the script. And one of the things I've done the last months with all my discoveries and diving into the topic of manifesting and testing things myself is the different manifesting techniques. I wrote one thing that I can probably share with you guys today, but that's the story of scripting. It's rewriting both the past and scripting your future, because you are the director, and that's what you have basically done yourself, Joseph. You have basically mentally scripted your future. That's why you can say now that you can see what's coming. You have the faith, and there's basically no resistance anymore for you to create that. So I don't want to get too technical and metaphysical into manifesting process today, because we need to talk about the mindset shift, frequencies, parallel realities. And I can tell you guys listening today, and this is not a cool, magical thing just because it's exciting, but I've noticed so many reality shifts physically, emotionally, and yeah, maybe you can call it spiritually, but it's just a natural workings of the universe. For the last months, making my mind shifts, like we talked about last time, I can go out one day and something feels just different. There's something happening that day that show me that, what the hell? This is not common. I see a different pattern. Suddenly there's a human showing up that I thought I knew that is completely different. I've had one single event here I'm pointing right now for what people watching the video on YouTube. I was sitting here a few months ago, and I had to turn around to pick something up at this work desk. And I leaned forward to grab my bag, and it was like, physically, I felt like sticking my head through an invisible wall, and I got goosebumps. Super strange. I never had that before. And it can sound weird for some people, but the thing is that when you and I work on ourselves using our mindset, we are persistent. We decide to do this and only see the future we want. The frequency and energy signature of our bodies change so much that you're basically leveling up to a new timeline. A new timeline is created when the overall energy field of who you are becomes so different that you maintain it. It's a new version of you. That's creating a new timeline.
It's fascinating stuff, and I appreciate that. We don't want to get too deep into this because it's not going to be resolved within an hour. Far from it.
No, that's true.
But I would like to ask at least like, and I feel bad about this because it's not the great. It's almost unfair to simplify, but I'm gonna have to try anyways. Which is, what would be some of the practices or some of the techniques that somebody can start applying even as soon as they're done listening to this?
Yeah, I would like to give people the free new guide that I wrote in 3 days. It's called. It's a concept I call filter and manifest. It's pretty simple. If people do it, their life is going to change dramatically. I created a simple guide that's called the reality shift template. And it is a template to shift realities because you're making such a profound shift. And it's pretty simple, basically. It's, like I said, the concept is called filter and manifest. The first thing we need to do is to filter our reality, especially now, the last year. There's a lot of things happening that it's not worth even mentioning here.
But we can talk about that afterwards because there's some terms that you brought up. I'm like, I know what he knows, and we're going to talk about that after. Yeah.
And but that's too much for now. But
yeah.
It's still important to mention because my super quick take on this and the pitch is that there is an agenda, and that I say that because I do more research than most people do. Most people's research is from the news. Then you get what you get. My reality is different. We need to filter our realities. So the first thing I tell people, stop watching the damn news. Unless you want to mindfuck every day, stop watching the news. Stop reading the newspapers. Number 2, filter your closest friends and families, because not everybody is good for you in the new version that you are about to become. And not everybody's going to like the new improved version of you. Number 3 is to filter the food you eat, because you do become what you eat. So if you in general live on the typical American diet, that's pretty famous, I guess now, you're going to struggle to keep a clear mindset to make the positive changes in the first place. Number 4 is to filter places you hang out, because every location, every space have an energy. So I remember when I started my freelance business that we were going to touch on, is every day I went out from my apartment at home in Norway, and I went to nice coffee shops and sometimes even hotel lobbies, just because the environment was positive and different. And I'm very selective of the spaces I hang out. I go to places that feel good. I spend time with people that exist on my reality level that I can actually talk to in a good way. I eat fairly healthy to keep my body clean. My body, my stomach and my brain is connected. We know that now. What you eat can create depression. I'm intensely filtering my news. I left Facebook last fall. I haven't been on since. When you have done all that filtering, you have cleaned out your energy field so much and created such a blank, nice white canvas that now we can start to manifest. Some of the things, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to touch on. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you, but well, here we go. So I went to go visit my parents not too long ago, and I was never really much one for watching the news, just because I wasn't really one for watching much TV. Like once I stopped watching Saturday morning cartoons, TV had nothing for me. So news just didn't really glom onto my radar. But it didn't occur to me just how poisonous it can really be to consume. I sat there and they go through like their opening stories, and it's just pure shock and awe, like flooding in Germany, coronavirus updates. It was like a star football player, footage of him trying to like break into his in-laws house. And I will say, as a football player, his charging technique on point. But and then all of that, and then finally a baseball player who made it into the major leagues, and he surprises his father, like a nugget of positivity after this tidal wave of scare and terror. And I looked at my dad and I'm like, Dad, I think it'd be healthier if you just took up smoking. and then you get to the commercials, and they're trying to sell people on all of these medications, because they put people in that vulnerable state, and they're more susceptible, I think, to looking for solutions to some kind of problem. So that was me just watching it for like one day, just because I happened to be with my parents at the time. Yeah,
I know it's I don't know. I hope most people will know now how scripted it is. It's insane. And when you start to backtrack and you discover the media companies and what they are and who they are, we have seen it. You can see how scripted they are. You can go to, we have seen 5 different news channels saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, you probably saw the same video I did, where they lined up about like 80 different news broadcasts, and they all said the same thing at the same time. Yeah, it's and one thing I appreciate about being in the e-commerce space is I'm just trying to, I wanted to pick the perfect word, couldn't find it. It encourages a lot of entrepreneurship, and a lot of initiative, and a lot of independence. And I think for that reason, it does seem to connect a lot more people who are more of that mindset, and more like, well, we're not watching the news, we're making the news.
Yeah. So, and that's about creating our own reality. It's to excluding stuff that's not fitting in the dream world that we want to have. So So I just wanted to, suggest a couple of techniques for manifesting, because when we have filtered out all the crap, we can start to create.
Sure.
I use meditation, like you've done. I visualize. I play out the same story and result over and over again in my mind every night, because I need to change the subconscious mind. The second thing I want to mention, that I have sometimes done scripting, and that's writing a short event, like in a diary, of what happened, but it's in the future. That's what I've done.
Okay. I just have a very small question about that one, which is this kept in so you say it's in a diary, right? So it's just kept in a paperback journal, and you just pop out the pen and just write it down, and then you're looking
Even
through
better.
it perhaps. Yeah. Okay.
Because it becomes, you're in motion with it, you're interacting with it and taking action. So you're in the becoming, basically. So that's why I talk about filter and manifest.
Well, I could. There's so much of this that I love hearing about. Because it's just to me, it really is an honor and a privilege to be able to. Yeah, I mean, getting into this e-commerce podcast, like, we're just talking about drop shipping and Facebook ads and stuff like that, and this is just the macro perspective of e-commerce, which is the argument that I made from the beginning, which is you have to have your mind right. If your mind is right, and then it will lead you to make better decisions in your business. And so with that, we are going to jump into some of the business side. We'll, depending on how long I get to keep you for, maybe we'll come back to the spiritual side to wrap this up. So I'm going to start with the first question that I had chambered, but it's your realm, it's your expertise, and so I also encourage you to take us to the other aspects of your business you want us to know about, so that we can better understand your relationship between the spiritual and what I can only, or terminology. There's no terminology that quite encapsulates everything, but I'm trying. So I'm going to start with passive income. So if as you say earlier, there's no difference between manifesting $1 million versus manifesting a good night's sleep or a cup of coffee. So in that same token, there is no additional difference to manifesting passive income. So how did you do it? And how can somebody else look into this?
I think I was one of the first ones in Norway. I remember to understand this concept that there are other ways of making an income. It was still a mindset thing. It's always a mindset thing. And well, as an example, I think I can start with Shopify. As you know, I have been, I don't know if I'm still the only Shopify expert in Norway, but I was at least one of the first, and I've been the only one for years. And it became one of my main income sources. So, at one point I had about $1,000 from Shopify every month without doing anything. So I wanted to mention that because, some people say that passive income doesn't exist. But I can say that to me, it seems like true passive income exists. This is one of them. I'm not lifting a finger to get paid from Shopify 2 times every month. As Shopify experts, we get and partners, we get paid 2 times a month. They made a change, of course, a few years ago when that kind of pissed me off a little bit. I wrote them an email about that, but they never replied, which is pretty sad. But they decided to cut our merchant fee income based on what the store sells, which I find really strange, because it was a huge incentive for us experts to actually spend extra time for all the clients to make sure they did well. So as an example, though, Shopify is one of my income streams, and I usually share what I make in different ways. Right now, even though I'm focusing less on Shopify, they pay me about $500 monthly for doing nothing. If I turn on my Shopify expert profile, I get flooded with work, so I can't do that. But the second thing is, as a web designer, it's pretty easy to generate at least semi-passive income. What I do is to make sure that when I connect with new clients, I get them on a maintenance plan. That's how easy it is. The third thing I have decided to do, and I'm sure many people on this listening to this show today understand how nasty it can be with some clients just sucking you for energy and time. I stopped doing that, and I told my followers of clients that from now you don't expect me to even reply to your emails. I'm not just your free support channel. If you want me to reply and help you out with questions and answers and advice, sign up to this access plan. It's just $35 monthly, but having a few of those generate also semi-passive income. And those are the main things that I have now.
So is the you said so sign up for the access? Is that the same thing as the maintenance plan?
No, it's two different. It's two different services. Yeah.
Okay.
Some clients are just on having me available for them, and I don't always hear from them, but they like to have me as the source of advice and tip and short updates. The second thing is WordPress maintenance.
This is great because I can bring in, I guess, a mindset shift that I think is important here. So even speaking from my own experience as a freelancer, what I found is the early phases of being a freelancer and being a trusted professional for others puts most of the leverage on the client side and not the freelancer side. If a client asks a question and happens to be at midnight, I'm like, well, this is my first couple of clients. I'm going to do it. And so I think over time, it's important to take more firm positions, which is, how do my time is more valuable. You need to understand this. So I'd like to hear about maybe the chronology of that. So when you were first starting out, was the leverage more on the customer side or the client side? And how are you able to get to the position that you have now? And what were some of the major turning points that allowed you to be more firm with your clients?
Yeah, I love this topic. It's super interesting because of what I teach in my coaching too now. As we talked about that I do more coaching with people who want to learn web design and have an income. And this is one of the most important topics. So it's two things. It's pretty simple. It's two things. It's your skills and it's your confidence. So of course, when you start out, you bow down and you lay flat for any client you can get. Hail the client. So how did that change for me? It's not like that now for me. So what I usually tell people, I don't want to swear too much, but I tell people, fuck your client, because the client is not always right. That was from the 1800s. The client is not always right because they're going to run you over. You are usually always right and that's why they come to you in the first place. You're the one with the knowledge. But like you said earlier in the previous segment, it's about balance. As soon as you start to grow your knowledge and your skills, and you know what you can do for the client and deliver, you become more and more valuable, which makes you more comfortable, and confident. That starts gradually to put the weight more over to your benefit and your side. And the funny thing is that there will be less clients that can screw you over, but there will be more clients that just love you more and more because, and clients love me. I can be pretty rough with my clients. I have clients that told them you suck. But the thing is that I think I have kind of developed, probably in my 17 years of martial arts of training people, I mix in my attitude, but they kind of feel it's in a loving way. I really care for my clients. That's the thing. I always over-deliver. I always care. And it puts me in a position that I can actually tell them pretty straightforward how things should be, basically. And it gives me a lot of power, but I'm not misusing it. So I think that's so skills and confidence, which gradually will put the weight over to you, and you will have more control of your business, and you can charge higher rates.
I think one thing that we also talked about prior to recording was I think there was an element of this that you wanted to show us. So I think this is the right time to pull up the screen share. You have to forgive me. I lost track of exactly what it was we wanted to do by way of screen share, but this is as good a time as any if you want to pull it up for us.
Yeah, I can do that. So I just want to recap why I want to show this thing. I hope by the time this episode comes out, this site is done. What I'm showing you now is not finished.
Well, worst case scenario, we'll cut it out. But
yeah. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, I take my mindset and understanding my spiritual being in my life and my career seriously. It's always a blending. And what I've seen, Joseph, is like more people like you have approached me, especially the last year. It's people that have an awakened mindset. They struggle to fit into the system, basically, the norms of society. And that includes having a 9 to 5 job. So I've, been focusing more on helping people how to do that. How do you claim your freedom? We need to change the mindset, and we usually need to find a new income. And I had a tribe of followers that are with me for a monthly membership. And I want to build that community. And this is the site that I want to share with you guys now, the Creators Tribe. It's basically going to be the new hub for awake and aware people, because we are actually entering right here, we're entering a new reality. Things are shifting drastically. Things are becoming more positive, even though it seems like everything is falling apart right now. But this is the site that I'm working on right now. I'm actually testing a new builder for it. This will be in place to welcome people like us, people with an aware mindset that want to claim their freedom and create their own reality, and maybe even make a new income. So I just want to show you guys this, because it's more and more people are now signing up to my main 2 websites. It's to improve their confidence. The other one is for people who want to learn web design and make an income. So thanks for letting me show you guys this. Many people are asking for it. So that's what we're trying to do here now.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that it's underway, because that is certainly something that I have encountered a great deal of, which is when people, how do I put this in a unique way? When people unplug from the matrix, one of the things that the system does is isolate those people who are unplugged, and makes them feel alone, makes them feel like their mindset is false, and that they are not adhering to the correct structure, and it can feel very, very lonely. And then anytime that somebody encounters an online community, there's a great deal of doubt as to whether or not that community is legit, or is it just run by Russian bots.
Yeah,
that certainly went through my mindset. And what I think is happening is it's very rare for someone to want to replug back in. Once a person understands the truth, they realize the cost benefit analysis of what they're going to gain by returning to the system versus what they're going to lose is, for most people, irreconcilable. Once in a while, you have somebody who wants to plug back in, and even I've been I've been tempted to do that sometimes, because ignorance is bliss. It does feel good to be ignorant, but that's just.
but you still have the awareness.
Yeah. It's a lot of it is just remembering the importance of long-term decision making and not just short-term decision making. Is the pain or the suffering that we go through is a necessary burden that we have to carry, so that we get to the better point and down the line. And then we get to that point, and this is, so we're coming back into the spiritual side. I do relate some of this to the grand creation, that which made all. And what I think is happening is there's this attempt to actually create more space between the beginning and the destination. The destination is everything reunites back into one creation, and it's all over. And what I think we're trying to do is actually create more time between those points, because it's the journey that we're here for in the first place. So whomsoever happens to come up with the idea that creates the most amount of time for us to live and have new experiences, future lives, even graduating to higher dimensions, is the correct mindset. It's about, no, we're not trying to finish this. We're actually trying to prolong the end as much as possible.
Yeah, time is I can tell you, Joseph, time have been the most complex thing for me to understand with all the stuff I've been going through. So, but we are here for the process. Like I said in the beginning, nobody can expect a soul to be fully developed in one lifetime. So, and the hardest thing is to understand that when you said that you can foresee the future because Could be because you have decided and you have visualized, but it's because it's there now. That's what I think, and that's what I've been having the future images coming up. It's because it's happening right now. There is no time. So how do we move faster? I don't know. Relax and trust the process at least. So
okay, so this question just came to my mind. In the interest of, say, somebody in our audience who might be a skeptic. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they're here to find out how to optimize their Facebook ads. And please understand, people, that in e-commerce we are going all over the galaxy, and we're just trying to collect all the information that we can. And I really appreciate what we're talking about today. But I want to be fair to the people who might be more skeptical. Is what would you say to somebody who doesn't buy into this and is probably somebody who perhaps watches the news on a routine basis? What would be the initial position for them to perhaps reconsider their point of view?
Well, everything is still a choice. There's nothing you have to do on this planet. But the thing is that if you reach a certain level of awareness and you know that you choose the more heavy and negative and not so positive way of life, maybe, which, I mean, there's a reason why there's a silent depression in the States and in Norway too. Norway is a rich country, but it doesn't mean that everyone is happy. It's because they try to fit in, but the system is not working so well. And, there's nothing wrong with that. But you get what you ask for. So I think if you get to a certain awareness point and you know that you think it's better to stick with the old ways, don't complain when things get hard and rough. The other thing is that you always carry the choice with you. When the days come that things suck and you suddenly get an enlightened idea, which usually comes sooner or later, you have the decision to choose right now, which in that moment creates a new timeline for you actually, and a new outcome. So just to understand, there's nothing you have to do. There's no punishment from the universe or any God source or whatever. You can choose exactly what you want. That's the thing. It's the freedom. It's the free will thing.
And I think the beauty of a lot of the practices on that technical level are things that people should just be doing anyways. Meditation is a great thing to do no matter what your belief system is. Eating healthy is a great thing to do no matter what your belief system is. Exercise is a great thing to do. Even if somebody is very much so enmeshed in a 9-to-5 structure. And I have my position in the past, and I have no issue bringing it up here, is that I do recognize that not everybody has the liberty to exit that. Perhaps there's people who depend on them. I wouldn't say this as a negative, but I think it's a fair characteristic of the e-commerce entrepreneur space, is that entrepreneurs tend to, but not always, be entirely self-reliant. So, I do talk to some people once in a while. They have families, they have children, but it doesn't come up as often. So that is a fair characteristic of the e-commerce space. So a lot of people in a structured environment, they're just going to have to make do, because they have to. There are other people who are depending on them, kids or elders or something along those lines. But even so, still finding time after they're finished work, putting an hour, putting in 30 minutes a day to start working on a side project can end up blossoming into something that's far more, I think, fulfilling in the long run, far more freeing in the long run. So I think everybody has the opportunity to do it. And I take a lot of pride in feeling like I get to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And so, I'm honored to be able to do my part. But as I agree with you, it is their choice at the end of the day. So start with the simple things is my bottom line. If you're not meditating, try it. You can meditate for 30 seconds. You can meditate for a minute. It doesn't take much time to at least give it a shot.
I would say also just to please allow your drama queen brain to some time to slow down, because it's, remember, the default setting for most people is constant input. It takes time to slow down the mind. Yes, Theory, the YouTubers, one of the guys there, he was really struggling. The big YouTube channel, pretty cool guys doing exploring crazy stuff. He tried meditation for, was it 1,000 days? And he really struggled at the beginning until the mind finally gives in. But I want to say that I think, Joseph, you have a really great mix here when we talk about our business and our minds, because we can't deny that we are humans in a body that have a mind, and I guess most of us can agree that there's might be a soul. I guess we know that now, even by research actually that's been done, that most people don't know about. But so it's a great mix to talk about these things, because I expect everyone listening to this listen because they want to improve their business. And balance, like you mentioned, is just super important. Trust the process and relax, and there will be more balance.
Here's a question that I had for you. With your life coaching, just to I guess make sure I understand the purpose of it. Is it strictly speaking about the self-development, or is it also in relation to helping people build their businesses?
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this last time, did I, on the call, how much struggle I have had the last years to figure out how the hell I can combine this and send out the message.
And I was thinking, I don't know. I think we talked about. If I'm being honest, I interview so many people in the week. The bucket is constantly overflowing. So, but I am trying.
Well, I've been on a few podcast interviews, and they usually touch on the same topics, so I mix them up. But I was thinking to myself, I'm not the only one out there that are spiritually aware and like to take care of my body and mind, and I want to have my own business. How the hell do you help those people? So, and a few years ago, my main website, motioneffect.com, had both of them in one bulk, and it's just not working. It's hard to, I could do it, but with so much focus on my web design stuff and the coaching around that, I have to have that as a separate camp, because it needs to be focused. For people who also want to, improve their minds and understand their metaphysical existence, that needs to be the other tribe. So it's been hard for me, actually. This is where I am now.
Well, it's a rather distinctive challenge, because I completely agree with the necessary logic behind the being in the proper state of mind to understand what business we want to conduct. But they are disparate. And again, I can only be so self-aware so many times, but they're even in the idea of starting this podcast up, it was about how people can drop ship and run Facebook ads, and it's become a mantra at this point. And so I would never in a million years expected to be able to connect on a spiritual level. So I'm happy to do that, but I recognize that you do have two different pillars, and they're lateral from one another. So I guess one way that I could ask this is, have you noticed crossovers? Have you noticed by any chance that there are people who visit you from one source, and probably because you had mentioned it, or maybe there's a backlink somewhere, they had crossover into the other side? Have you been able to pick up on any trends or patterns based off where people arrive on the funnel?
And I see that I'm using Encharge now, by the way. I moved over to Encharge.io for email delivery, and I keep them in two tribes, but I do see people in both groups now. And it seems like most people are coming from the mindset stuff over to web design. And that's the example again, is people like us who are looking for ways to have freedom. And they visualize that maybe sitting home or in a coffee shop with a laptop that I already have, make websites, can give me some income. I think it's mostly that way. People are looking specifically for web design. I don't think they suddenly get eureka, I need to change my mindset to make this work. But I do see that many of them are also open for that. And I wanted to say that the bottom line is that we are a spiritual entity having a human experience. How you want to unfold this and play this out on this planet is up to you, but we're still a spiritual being. No, some care about it, some don't, and but it's still the truth. We're more than just a meathead.
One thing that I was wondering about is, through your coaching and through your the tribe mentoring, and then the group calls, because I was looking into the website in prep for this, and I saw that these are group calls that you have. So I'm wondering if anybody has allowed you to find to realize something, if they've taught you something. And I don't mean in the absolute pragmatic sense where they actually give you a tip or a pointer, but in asking you a question in your own exploration of the thought process, something had come to you.
I have, because I have a lot of conversations with people just out here the last year or last month. I think I mentioned on our last call that with my focus on leveling up my energy after I lost my girl, I had to do that. Changed how I radiate energy, which have given me access to a lot of people, just strangers even approaching me. And some of those conversations, I have a way of having people opening up a lot and share details. And that gives me some really interesting moments of insights in that. So that's the way I actually learn from other people. I listen to the stories and I see examples of how things unfold, basically. So yeah, and of course, some people give me some life advice, but that's usually people that have had a good lifetime and a lot of experience. And it's not too many of them. Most people are more listeners because of my, I don't know, the level I've reached with understanding things, and also because our lives, the story we have creates us. So
I want to share another thought that I had with you. This was a realization that I had like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. So one of the things that I appreciate about being in in gaming communities is that it allows people to take on avatars and to explore their own thought process and their own decision-making process in an environment where they're not going to get blown to pieces. So you'll learn a lot about somebody based off, say, their play style. Are they defensive? Are they balanced? Are they aggressive? I'm a defensive type. So I learned that through not just playing one game, but through playing multiple ones and seeing what it is that worked well for me, what came more naturally to me. So there's that. And then another part of it, which is interesting, is the ability to rename yourself and give yourself a tag. So I went through a couple of different, nicknames and tags until I noticed something. Everybody who's named Joseph, they will cut themselves down to Joe. And they'll go with Joe, and then the other half of it just disappears. I thought, well, you know what? I like the sound of Seth. So I did the opposite. I took Seth and it cut out the Joe part. And so now I use that as my tag. And the more that I've thought about it, the more I've started to see a graduated, almost like higher dimensional version of myself. Like I'm starting to build the avatar that I'm expecting to be. And of course, being the nerd that I am, like wear a red robe, probably specialize as a conjurer. I think I want to learn invisibility, and all of these things are the result of actually taking my name, cutting it in half, and coming up with a more condensed version of myself. John's pretty short as is, so I don't know if everybody has the luxury of something as literal as like cutting the name in half. But what I'm wondering is if you have ever had a vision of how you might manifest in higher dimensions, and what would be you in a more distilled, condensed, but in other ways, heightened and enhanced version of yourself.
Yeah. Both of them actually. That was a super interesting question and topic. And I think I need to make sure I cover two things here. First of all, your experience with this is a super great example. What you're basically doing there, and what many people are doing, is they're playing out their highest dreams of themselves in a safe environment. It's a hologram. That's why people all sometimes are attracted to that. It's it's rare that I see people call themselves assholes and create avatars that look like shit. If you have a game that you can do that, you built up a super awesome character with a cool name, and I'm wondering why Seth would be a name for you, for example. And you become the dream version of you. That's really the true you. That's the thing. But you're not playing it out in real life. You're just acting it. And basically, it's if you could take that next step and put it into real life, you're basically use the game as a manifesting platform. It's the closest you can take it out from the mental hologram, the invisible field of all that is, of infinite possibilities. Take it out from that mental hologram, the visualization, maybe from a meditation. You put it into a game. You can actually play around in a visual hologram you can see. But what if you took that out and put it into real life? Maybe you don't want to dress up and all that and change your name, but there's some qualities in that character that you represent. It's part of your body and energy body signature. So that's an example.
Well, just to clarify, I definitely want to change my name and dress up in my red robe.
Some people do, and they get to live it out. Yeah. So, and I think that's cool. And you get to see who is who. Well, the second question, and I just have to be honest and say what I've seen. For some people, it sounds freaky and weird, but we're all freaks on this planet, basically. So, yeah, there's a couple of things I've seen. I could say that I've seen an avatar like you. And the strange thing is, there's two things I want to mention, two stories. One strange thing happened in Norway one time when I was offered to join a group regression therapy session, which is basically about going back in time and even back to a previous life. There are techniques for that. I'm all into that kind of stuff, and I studied a lot of the stories and books, but I have no expectations from this evening. But suddenly intense mental images came up from a life with a guy that was called Nicholas. I saw everything. I saw the ages. He was close to being that avatar. He was a tall, handsome guy, strong, medieval times, really nice dressed, but he had almost no friends. He had no family, and he was a protector of a village. And he died at 86. I saw the death and everything. So I don't have to mention all details. It's not relevant really, but that was one example. But the greatest and kind of the divine version of myself, which I sometimes wonder is coming from, is like being an earth angel, which I know a lot of people relate to. And I've had a few dreams at times that have been so powerful that it gives me goosebumps still. And I wonder if it's sometimes the reason I pick up stuff like this, sometimes without thinking, but I perceive myself as having wings, huge wings. It came to me last year, no, in 2019, when the first time I changed the hair color to bleach it out, just as to change my character. I was wondering if that's subconsciously part of it. But I had a dream with a friend of mine one time, a guy that I do film production with in Norway. He was drowning in a river below a big bridge. And I descended down from the heavens with some huge, I was myself, but I having some intense wings. They were so damn big, Joseph, that I would break the whole apartment here. But I was flapping down and I grabbed him and I was just about to wake up, but it was so intense and so strong. And I lifted him up and put him on the ground and I woke up. And that's what I remember. Who is that? I don't know.
I'm so glad I asked the question. That's
but I know more people have these thoughts in their heads, but people usually don't dare to mention them.
Well, I mean, this isn't the kind of thing I don't get to do every time, but I'm glad that I got to do it at least once a blue moon, and that has been just over an hour. So with that, John, I'm going to let you have the floor one more time in case you wanted to wrap up any of the threads or if there was any other thoughts you wanted to conclude with. I just wanted to make sure you had that opportunity. And then I'm going to let you go because I have some questions I cannot ask live on the air.
Behind the scenes, yeah. Yes, there's one thing I wanted to talk to the business people here and all new freelancers and digital nomads. The mindset's going to change everything for you. And if you consider some of the ideas around manifesting and start to understand the power of the mind, your business is going to change. I've had 2 coaching calls previously today. which I'm going to display in a video later on this website. I just show you guys the story with her. It's been 3 years from going from a shithole to having her own business. That's how powerful it can be. So keep listening to stuff like this, and things will be fine.
Yeah,
that's my
I want to back you up on that as well. To my audience and whomsoever happens to come across this, is if you don't think this kind of thing is valuable, I hope that at least some of the simple techniques will get you on your way, because as we say, when people come to this realization, they don't go back. And once you come to that realization, you might not even come into it in this life. It might take a couple more lives down the line, but you will come to it. So for anybody who is, they have questions, John here would be a great person to reach out to. I'd be more than happy to pitch in as well. So you're always welcome to email podcast@debutify.com. So just let me know what you think about it. And also, if you want us to do more content like this once in a while, I certainly would like to. I think it's what I find interesting about it is in keeping with the theme of predestination and fate is I'm noticing these conversations always come up when I need them to. It's always like if I just need some calibration, I end up having a conversation that helps me calibrate. So that's my final say on that.
Living. Yeah. It's better than living in just plain hope that one day universe will serve you. You are in control. So
all right. So with that, just take us through once more your web presence, and so that people can look into you and reach out to you if they're so inclined.
Yeah. So for social channels, I don't use much other than Instagram right now. I'll be found there. You will probably provide a link. I got 2 main websites. Motioneffect.com is more the mindset stuff. I'm focusing on reality shift, make people really change their reality and timeline. And then me as a web designer is johnmac.pro. That's where I do my client work, and I will be promoting my coaching program coming out. And the last fresh hot from the press that I showed you today is creatorstribe.one. That's where the community will be.
.1. I like that. The oneness and unity of all things. Okay. All right. So to my audience, as always, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to collect this information and share it to all of you. So I for one, am grateful for the hour that I got to spend with you, John, today. So thank you so much. And to my audience, thank you all for your participation. And with that, take care, and we will check in soon.
You should be working when you shouldn't. I think early on, a lot of us were just like, we've got to sit at this line.
Hey, this is Joseph from Ecomonics. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.